Okay, welcome. Thank you very much for clicking on. Today I've selected 10 of my favourite finds from this weekend. I've been out to my local car boot sales buying antiques, collectibles, vintage, weird and wonderful yet again. And I'm going to share them with you now and we can have a little look at them and a little talk about them and hopefully you'll just enjoy. So, should we get started? So, my first purchase this weekend was a beautiful pair of Imari lamps. Now, Imari Japanese porcelain, they're fitted with brass mounts, they're hand painted. Now, these are 20th century as opposed to earlier pieces. Now, they've been doing Imari for a few hundred years. 18th century and 19th century pieces tend to be lighter. They have slightly different color pigments in the paint, but these are really, really attractive lamps. They've been wired with antique effect core. But yeah, now a single one of these, I wouldn't have got excited, but a pair can be displayed either side of a sofa in the living room or either side of a bed, and they're absolutely gorgeous. They've got the look for an interior designer, so I was really excited. If you're buying items, if you can buy pairs, then the value goes up probably 3, 4, 5 times at the very least. Beautiful set. I think they were about 14, 15 inches tall, if I remember right. Size 17 inches tall, so they're a really, really good size. And they're in absolutely lovely condition. Originally, they were wired from the top, probably not to drill the vases. But then they've changed it. Obviously, they've wired them from underneath and they've drilled through the base of the vase, which is quite common anyway. You find on a lot of antique Chinese vases where they were lamped. These are probably early 20th century, could even be late 19th century porcelain vases. And they've been much, much later turned into lamps, but they're really, really decorative. And I rated them. This was a very rare find indeed. This is Chinese, is Cinnabar Lacquer. Now, Cinnabar Lacquer has been made for like 1,000 years, but early Cinnabar Lacquer come from the Cinnabar tree, and they put hundreds and hundreds of layers of lacquer onto a brass or copper body, and then they'd hand carve the designs in. Now, this is at the very least a 19th century piece, could even be a bit earlier, but it's certainly 19th century. The detail on it is absolutely spectacular. It's a 5-clawed dragon, which was always reserved for the emperor rather than the 3 or 4-clawed dragon. Now, some of the ways to tell early Cinnabar lacquer from more modern is it's deeper carved, it's unevenly carved, there's more detail in the carving, there's more finer etching in the background carving, things like that. But beautiful. You can see the wear on the inside of the vase there. I like to show all the condition of the items to make sure whoever's buying them knows exactly what they're buying. But the quality is absolutely stunning. Now, I've had Cinnabar lacquer before, but it's just the entire piece is lacquer. I've never had a piece that was actually on a brass body or brass ground, but it was a really nice thing. About 8 inches tall, beautifully carved, good age. Would have been nice to have seen a Qinglong mark or something like that on the base. But what a lovely thing. But yeah, Cinnabar lacquer, really rate it. Very rare do I get a piece. So, sometimes I'll find the odd little dish or something, but it's always damaged. This vase is stunning. So it was really nice find, and to find that in Gethlegay car boot sale at 7:30 in the morning was absolutely astonishing. All the way from China, and now what can I say? The dragon motif really is, the dragon design really is just spectacular on it. Sticking with Chinese, these are a lot more modern. We have a large string of purple jade beads, but these beads have all got little dragons on them. I'm not sure. When I was feeling them, it looks like the dragon has been sort of etched, maybe acid etched or laser etched into the jade, and then they've been filled with gilt or gold. Or at least that's how they felt when I was looking at them. Really nice. They got a modern magnetic clasp on the end. But what a really nice set of purple jade beads with dragons all the way around them. Now, if you're in the boxes looking for gold and silver, why don't you intentionally look through the costume jewellery as well? Spend that little bit of extra time. Now, this is a modern set of purple jade beads, Chinese jade beads, but they're absolutely beautiful. And believe it or not, worth every bit as much as gold. £85 I'm asking for these. And believe it or not, they will sell. I have found little bracelets sold very similar to what I'm asking, and I got a big string for necklace. So when you're in the boxes and you're looking for gold and silver, make sure you're checking for coins, make sure you're checking for tokens, and costume jewellery is a must. But love it. I really think they're absolutely beautiful beads. They weren't the only ones. Off the same seller, I had these, which are green jade beads. Really, really nice, deep, deep green. And the beads, well, you can see there, hopefully you can see, the beads are absolutely gorgeous. You can see just into the stone. Really nice. They both come in. I was in the box already looking for a bit of gold, and I stumbled on these two. And I thought, how wonderful to come up with two jade necklaces. And as I say, they're worth every bit as much as picking out a piece of gold. Going from China all the way to South Wales, United Kingdom. This is a Groggs Studio pottery sheep. And it has a little panel or window here that says, happiness is knowing you're Welsh. Which is where I am. I'm Welsh, I'm from Wales. I literally live about 5-6 miles from the factory or the pub that they converted into a factory that actually produces this stuff. If I remember right, the John Hughes started in his garden shed and worked his way up. He's had some of the biggest names in the world now. They had to pose for him to have figures made. Lots of the rugby players and even Pavarotti and the likes of, some really big names have been done. Now, this is an early one. They make them now out of like a resin. This is an early pottery one, rough finish. Signed to the back. There you go, John Hughes on the back. So this is an early one. If you're looking for the rugby players, this is the type of finish you want on the early rugby players, not the resin ones. They're still good money for the resin ones and collectible, but if you can get the early ones, that's what people want. Now this is a big sheep. They've done a huge range of these sheep, with tons of different mottos. Things like keep Wales tidy and throw your rubbish in England. There's been so many different things wrote on the sheep I've had over the years, and I think they're quirky, they're wonderful, and they're a bit of Welsh pottery history, because the Groggs, well, they've been going for probably 50 years now. 40 to 50 years, something like that. I'm sure it was 70s or 80s. In fact, I'm going to double check that fact. Let me see. 1971. So yeah, about 50 years. It was established in Pontypridd in 1971. The business began in 1965, but I believe that's when he was working in his sheds. But he opened the grog shop in Pontypridd in 1971, so that's 29 and 25. Yeah, that's 54 years ago. There we are. So, love it. Wonderful bit of Welsh history, and they are, believe it or not, very, very collectible. This is a good one. Solid. It's not 22 karat gold, unfortunately, but it's solid 9 karat gold. It's also fully hallmarked down there, 375 with a full set of hallmarks along there on the coin. Let me share the photo with you first. There you go. So we have a solid gold Queen Anne touchpiece. On the obverse, ship in full sail, following letters, an arc around the ship. I'm not even reading those letters. And on reverse, you have Saint Michael and the dragon. To God alone the glory. So yeah, there's the other side. there's the other side. I thought that was the same side. So there's St. George's there, or St. Michael killing the dragon, slaying the dragon. Either way, we have a solid gold coin. Very collectible. I got another one coming in next week. I bought this off a trader. Very happy to have it. It's 1974. It's a replica of a Queen Anne touch coin, produced in 1974 by Johnson Mattei. Anyway, all the details are there on the card. You can't really get anything wrong there, but it was really unusual and nice to find solid gold coins at a car boot sale. This is nice. What I liked about this was the colour. The colour just pops. It's mid-century, it's bright, it's really bold in your face, sort of late 50s, 60s. Look at the beautiful orange. Now this is Murano, and this is known as, I think if the term is aventurine glass. What they did with this, when they were making the piece, they would throw metal fragments or oxide, like coppers and things like that, into the mix to give it the sparkly effect, if you like, inside. And that's where the aventurine is. Beautiful thing. You can hopefully see all these little flecks inside. I had it done once on a car where they chucked all the metal flake in the paint into the lacquer, and then when I was driving down the road it looked like a rainbow sparkles. But beautiful bowl, mid-century, Murano glass, Italian Venetian glass, lovely thing. But if you want a bit of mid-century, what a way to add a bit of colour. And I gotta be honest with you, I've had loads of these bowls, but they're always pale and neutral pastel colours. I don't think I've ever had one that bright and that orange. So that was nice. Okay, now if you follow my channel, you know I adore anything Chinese. I'm always studying, trying to learn Chinese porcelains, Chinese arts, things like that. You've already seen the Cinnabar Lacquer from China. You've already seen the pair of Imari Japanese vases turned into lamps. Now you're going to see a beautiful antique Chinese porcelain bowl. Now what you got here is known as rice grain pattern. That is, see these dots here, when you hold it up to the light, if you look down the bottom section here, it glows through, it looks like grains of rice. Now what they actually do here is they make the bowl, and they wait until it sort of cures, dries, and then they carve out, maybe using a tool, I don't know, these rice patterns, normally in a floral style. This one is an antique piece. All the border is hand painted. The base here is hand painted. If I look out here, this outer rim is hand painted. You can see there the design, how beautiful the effect is when it comes through on the light. It's just stunning. Now this is one of the most common patterns made. You can find it everywhere today, but the modern stuff is transfer printed. None of this hand painted. It's all transfer printed and a lot poorer quality. This is an absolute stunning thing. Now you can see there it's been roped to the base in the paint by the painter, China. Now the laws were from 1890 they had to be marked China. Same as in England, things had to be marked England. By 1910 it was made in, so it'd be made in China, made in England. So this states probably 1890 to 1910, somewhere around by there, but it's all hand painted. And it's a really big rice pattern bowl. If I go back to the China, can you see that little dot there? The dark spots down here. That is basically where they've put the brush onto the porcelain to start the brush stroke, and that's what you call pooling or heap and piling, where you get the dark spots, or when you overlap you get a dark spot because you've got two layers of the ink on. That's what the things you're looking for to show you it's hand painted rather than just a stamp. Really, really nice bowl. It's only, what, 120, 130-year-old, but it was a beautiful find in lovely, lovely condition. And I really like it. It's late Qing, and as I say, you can go out to the car boot sale tomorrow and you'll probably find 10 rice pattern bowls, but they'll be modern. This is an early one. They've been doing it for well over 100, somewhere around 100, 150 years, something like that. They've been doing this pattern. And this is, as I say, so what's this? This is about 130-year-old, 120-year-old bowl. When you're in your costume jewellery boxes, one thing you're looking for is little pieces like this that are just chucked in the box. Anytime they have little things, they'll just throw them into the box with jewellery, with junk and things like that, and you've got to rummage through the boxes. This is really, really a nice bit of advertising. So you got a bottle. It's basically copying a Haig's Gold Label bottle of whiskey or whatever it was. Scotch whiskey, is it? Yeah. Haig's Scotch whiskey Gold Label. So that is what the bottle would look like if you bought it full of alcohol. If you was to press the top down there, that steel top, what would happen is there would be a retractable bottle opener. You see it there, inserted, press the top, and out comes the bottle opener. Now that is a really nice bit of advertising. It's usable, it's decorative, it's advertising, it's got everything going for it. It's Breweryana. That came in, literally, it was unrated, chucked in a box, nobody cared about it, and I picked that out, and would you believe I'm cheap at £25. They're really, really collectible, and these are the type of things you can rummage through a box at a car boot sale, and you can pick little curios up like this, and you would really be shocked on how valuable they are. But lovely little bit of advertising. Now you could use that, but personally, I wouldn't, because you want to protect the label, and it's just a really nice collectible. This is beautiful. I knew what this was the second I bought it. It is a plaster plaque after or by Wyon. Now, I've got multiple bronzes on my site already by Wyon, so I already knew his work. Now, he'd worked with bronze and plaster, so I haven't taken the back off. This could be by him. Normally it's signed around the base. So, I believe this was his children. I could be mistaken, but I believe this was his children. Now, normally it's signed around here at the bottom, but there's no signature on this one. Now, the plaque is plaster, but the frame is also plaster and gilded. So the frame is solid plaster and gilded. There are some marks. I've done the photographs. You can see some of the marks and wear. There you go. I haven't attempted to clean it. I never would. I leave it untouched. But if I turn it over, you can see here, see where the plaster's chipping there and there. Now, I don't know if this is somebody who've done the work after him, maybe used one of his bronzes to make a mold, I don't know, or whether it's one of his works, I don't know, because I'd have to take it off, take this backing off and actually look at it. But it makes no difference either way. It's a very decorative panel. After Wyon is how I described it. Let me see, if I duplicate this page, I got multiple works. Let's just show you some of his works I got on my site. So, I got a bronze there. There's the children there, the identical children. 1849. Wyon, but that's in bronze. The only difference is this would have been in a marble frame. I've lost the frame. Just to give you an idea, where is the signature? I know it's signed. Yeah, signatures all along the bottom there. It won't let me zoom in for some reason. I got others as well. So I got that one, which is identical to what I've got. That's the plaque I've just shown you. Then I got these, which are again Wyon, but these are plaster panels. Are these signed? These should be signed. Yeah. So there you go. There's a signature on that one. Wyon. There you go. So Wyon by there. So that's what should have been on my current one if it was by him. It looks a lot more modern, so that's why I've put after EWY on, but it's still such a decorative plaque panel. It's absolutely gorgeous, and just a nice thing to find at a car boot sale. So that's my 10 picks for this weekend. Now, I bought a lot of jewellery this weekend. I done 3 car boot sales on Sunday, I done 2 on Saturday, I done 1 on Thursday. So I've been busy this week. I listed some like 50 items this weekend alone on the website. I've had gold, I've had silver. I know, and I very rarely have gold these days, but I've had quite a lot of gold this last week, quite a bit actually. So I intend I have one particular American viewer who really likes to see my jewellery. So for her, I'm going to make a video just on the jewellery finds. And I've had some really nice things like the Jade Beads, I've had Tiger's Eye, I've had silver, you name it. I've had some really nice bits. So I'm going to make a video on jewellery. Now, I've been contacted quite a lot of recent where people asking for advice, wanting to do what I do. I had one gentleman came down, spent a day with me to see what it's like to come out and about buying. I've had loads of people messaging me saying, "Can you give me any tips? Can you help me? I want to start out. I want to do this. I need to change my job." So this Wednesday, which will be, bear with me, Wednesday will be the 25th. I'm going to be doing a live video on the Wednesday at 1 p.m. and it is going to be a step-by-step guide of what I would do if I was to start today with no knowledge and no money, or very little knowledge and little money. So I've prepared a full list this time. At last week's live, I weren't too happy with it, so I removed it. So the only people who got to see it were the people who were actually on the live, because I didn't prepare a script for last week's. I done a video last week, the impact eBay had on the antiques industry, and then I done the live on the same topic, and I thought, well, I'll just talk about the same stuff I mentioned in the video, and then people will interact, and then I'd be able to have conversations and give opinions on what people say. But there was very little interaction, so it ended up being just a duplicate of the other video I'd put out, so I removed it. I weren't happy with the video. I weren't happy with the way the video turned out or my performance on the video. So Wednesday, I'm going to be doing a live again. It's just myself. But I've prepared a script, and it's going to be everything from what should you start off buying, where should you start buying, where should you sell, how to do it, everything from how to take photographs, how to keep books, you name it. It's going to be a business plan, step-by-step guide on helping you if you want to start out. So for everybody who's contacted me recently asking for tips and help and advice on how to do this, Wednesday is a good one. And if you want to ask questions, you can ask questions during the live and I'll answer your questions. So make sure you tune in on Wednesday to see that if you have an interest in ever buying and selling antiques for a hobby, collecting them, or if you want to just, make some money, change your job. That's the idea anyway. So that's Wednesday, 1 o'clock on the 25th on my channel, AntiquesArena. If you haven't checked out the website recently, you don't know what you're missing. I got close on 7,000 items on there. And they are all this type of quality that you've seen in today's video. I try to buy things that have heart, have a bit of soul, could look amazing in your home, like those Japanese lamps, interior designer pieces, without a doubt. Would a collector buy them? Possibly. They're not old enough. Will an interior designer buy them? Rip my arm off. They're absolutely amazing for an interior designer. So I try and buy things that either tell a story, they're good quality, they got history, they're decorative, anything along them lines. But I've had some really nice stuff of late. So check it out. It's on the website, AntiquesArena.com. Now, if you find you get any useful help, or if you get anything out of my videos, I would ask one thing. Please like or share the videos and help the channel to grow. That's all I'd ask. It's free, doesn't cost you nothing, and if you like the channel, maybe you got a friend who'd like the channel as well. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you soon.